Right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to ESE Paris 2025. And we've got the live studio event today, Unplugged Talk, and we're very grateful to have three amazing endodontic experts here. I don't think they need an introduction, but as we know, we've got Professor Damiano Pasqualini, Professor Azim, Professor F.Jarad. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Shalini Kanagasingam. I'm from the University of Lancashire and very happy to see you today. So, the topic at hand, future-proofing endodontic education. So we're going to talk about AI, digital tools, a little bit about coaching, and maybe a little bit about also maybe how we can bring together global standards and what we should be doing as endodontists across the world. So I'm going to start you off, Prof. Azim, actually. Shall we go with first names? I think we said Adam, yeah?
Please.
All right, okay. So in your 2025 IEJ article, I think fresh off the press, lots of people have been, reading it, talking about it.
Sure.
You talk about innovation. It's not a buzzword, it's a necessity. What does that actually mean to you in terms of education? Where do you see us going in terms of innovation?
See, I think this is a really good question because I think the focus often when we talk about innovation, we talk about particular fragmented solutions. So we look at AI as a tool, we look at VR as a tool.
Yeah.
But if we want to improve education as a whole, we really need to revisit how we teach our students and then how we integrate these different things into the educational process. It's a very different era that we are in now compared to 20 years ago or even more. So we have a lot of access to knowledge and technology that we didn't really have access to before. So we should not apply how we used to train students, how we used to generate or create specialists in the same manner we have today. We may need to really rethink the whole process and perhaps moving more towards a mentorship kind of programs. I refer to it in the paper as deinstitutionalization of education. It's a very difficult word to say it, actually. But this is something I think could be a good direction if we talk about innovation in education.
And I think that's a relevant point because we've all been trained in a certain manner. And sometimes you find yourself trying to recreate that environment, but things have clearly changed. So my next question actually goes to you, Damiano. So you've been a pioneer in VR haptic, especially haptics for microsurgical training as well. Can you tell us a little bit about how this has changed the way you teach?
Okay, hi Shalini. Haptic is a technology to reproduce the sense of touch, And so in dental education is used to enhance the virtual reality training by providing a tactile feedback to the user, the student. I mean, when you are making an access cavity in a virtual environment or you're making ostectomy or root and resection, you really feel in your hand the resistance of the different hard tissue. I mean, the enamel, the root and the bone. And so it gives you a kind of realistic feeling. There are still some limits because the actual technology cannot really reproduce the soft tissue management. So still there is something to do about it.
How widespread is the use currently? Is it a routine part of your sort of preclinical training prior to
the actual simulator have different scenario in the library. So you can start from a manual dexterity exercises from the very beginning of the undergraduate course, going up to more difficulty exercises. And some of them, even just like this one, we can use in the postgraduate program as a preclinical tool, I mean.
Yeah. I suppose it also allows students to practice on their own time without a heavy reliance on supervisors being on site.
Yeah, actually, after the initial investment, which is
quite large, we have to say.
Yes. I can understand.
You've been privileged to have resources not other schools may have, but
It is not only a niche. There are many universities and many simulators around the world now. But after the initial investment, the student can practice 24/7 at no additional cost.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that can really be a choice for university. And also, the company are producing a desktop version of the simulators, less expensive and more easily affordable for the university. So I think it's going to be easier for the next future.
So maybe I'll hold out for the desktop versions. Yeah, we'll wait for the next version too. Fadi, back to you now. So your 2025 IEJ article highlights the power of coaching. So I was going to actually ask you in terms of student self-efficacy, where does coaching come in? And maybe tell us a little bit about how you would differentiate also coaching and mentorship. Sorry, it's a loaded question. It's
No,
quite a lot to go through.
No, it is great question.
Yeah.
When it comes to self-efficacy, you need to allow the students to arrive at that, and maybe we need to define what self-efficacy is.
Yeah.
So self-efficacy is your ability to be confident in a very specific scenario, but at the same time, it's your perception of your confidence and competence of that environment. So in order to arrive at that, you need coaching to help you improve and enhance your learning. And coaching is mainly about self-learning and self-directed, facilitated by your coach or by educator. And the difference between that and mentoring is mentoring is more about didactic and giving the expertise of Adham to his postgraduate students and telling them how to do it in his own eyes and his own experience. But for a coach, it's all about active listening and questioning to the learner and them coming out with their goals and their actions. So that's the main difference.
So when you talk about self-directed learning, I know we are trying as educators to put the onus back on the students to play an active role in obviously their training and be responsible for these, But also I think, do you notice it as well? Because personally I feel like the generation of students that I'm training now, they actually want more from you. There's expectations are higher, in terms of resources. And I suppose they do want that sort of one-to-one. So is coaching going to be more in terms of, sort of staff heavy in that sense, like, in terms of that? Or is there any way you can mitigate for that? Yeah.
Well, you already have the coaching happening on clinic.
Yeah.
But through sometimes what you call it mentoring, but you might just need to change the approach. So you have on the moment coaching, and that's where you will have it on day-to-day performance.
Yeah.
But also you have coaching over a longer period of time, and that happens with your one-to-one goal setting and ability to reliably or being able to apply that to your situation and coming up with those goal or action points that you need to achieve. So it doesn't need to be intensive, but equally we talked about innovations and technologies, and AI can play a very important role in that area. For instance, you can go now to your PowerPoint app and you can really do rehearsal with coach, and it will tell you if your speed, your pitch, your content is really helpful or not, or give you some tips in improvement. So again, with technology and innovations, and tech companies can come up with good solutions to support the teachers. And for that, you're allowed the teacher to have less time on the administrative task and more time on teaching the students or coaching them.
Thanks for that, Padi. So that brings me back to Adam now, actually. So AI, and maybe how much of it do you want to see it, taking over some of the traditional roles that we've been, we do want to protect the profession as well in some ways, but how do you see it, replacing certain activities for learning and teaching?
See, I mean, I'm definitely a little bit on the bias side, or maybe a better word for it, so I'm more passionate about it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm engaged in development of AI tools, particularly for assessment, which I think is a sore point for a lot of educators. We want to develop good exams that can reflect how well the student have learned. Professionally, we're not trained to write questions, to write good questions, and we don't have time to sit and grade questions. So you end up maybe making questions that are not reflecting what you really want to get out of the course content that you provided. So, for example, AI can help in something like this. We say the implementation of AI in different areas can help be part of diagnosis, can perhaps be part of initial discussion between the student and the AI to come up with potentially how they want to drive before they bring the faculty into play. It's a reality. We have shortage of faculty, and we have shortage of, I would say, competent faculty as well. So there could be faculty, but the quality as well can vary a lot. if I bring AI into the game and try to reduce some of the load that faculty may take years to get comfortable performing, I think that could be a great plus. Again, the whole fear, AI will do this, AI will not stop teaching, AI is going to do everything. It's never going to be like that. The intention is to empower the faculty to perform a higher or a better job. I do not need to necessarily hire the best of the best. It's great, right? But they are not a lot, and we cannot hire them everywhere. So can we rely on AI to help us to collaborate more or to reduce our load and focus on certain areas that AI cannot replace us so far? Clinical training and mentoring and things like that.
Yeah, thank you for that. Damino, where do you stand with that? How do you see in terms of even your haptic training that you do, and in terms of assessment and objective assessment, because it's quite interesting when you talked about, how we can even calibrate examiners. We all know that sometimes calibration can be an issue. Let's put it that way. So what would your comments be on that in terms of assessment and technology?
Every simulator software interface, they have evaluation systems, they have self-assessment and self-reflection system. Then, of course, how to say that they are good, they are the best, because I believe that any company can put some kind of default settings, but there is an opportunity for personalization from the teacher. You can enter the editor interface, you can change the evaluation criteria according to what is the gold standard or what is your personal need. I mean, I can change the shape of the standard access cavity because in my teaching setting, I want it in a certain way. And just talking about the peculiar case of the student that has the training on the virtual haptic scenario, it can help to increase the manual skills, the confidence, since the digital workflow that we used in collaboration with the French company HRV, was studied from the patient data, and so we could virtualize the real patient data, and then so the student could practice on a volume and on the tissues that were according to the real anatomy from the CBCT. So at the end, he had more confidence. There is a gap because he's missing all the emotional factor, all the stress and pressure that you get during the surgery, because I see that even they get more confident, they still think that it's just like in a game. So you can make it wrong and do it again and again. Okay, you can assess that they improve technically, but this is something that is still missing in the tools. So for the next future with AI integration, there is a need for more impact of the psychological, of the neurological aspect.
Do you think that you see that coming? Because also you did mention gaming, and there is some evidence, especially with medical education, gaming is quite a good way to engage all generations
I think we are going in that direction.
So,
yes. There are still technical barriers, the barriers that we need to overcome, but
going in the right direction.
We're going very fast in this.
Fadi, back to you. We'd like to talk about curriculum development. So I'm just wondering where we stand right now, because correct me if I'm wrong, the previous ESE, basically a publication on postgraduate curriculum, was it back in 2010?
2010, yes.
So I'm wondering if you're allowed today to give us a little bit maybe of a teaser of what you've been working on, because I hear there's something new coming up in the horizon for curriculum development.
Yeah, our educational committee working group is working actively on updating the specialist endodontic curriculum. We ran a workshop on the Wednesday afternoon that attended by a group of educators who are enthusiastic about the standard or setting the standard for postgraduate education, but also updating the standard in order to make sure that we aspire to be better educators and better institutions, and effectively getting a much better postgraduates coming out. And in the workshop, it was extremely active. There was some line dancing, and I won't tell you any more about that. You might need to ask Anne-Marie, who was running the workshop, about that. But it's been really important because I think the educators found out that although they think they're so different,
Yeah.
there was extreme amount of similarities.
Right. That's reassuring.
Yes.
To know.
And
Yeah.
I think what I've learned,
Yeah.
that talking to each other helps. It's pretty much therapy.
Yeah.
But equally, you started really learning from other people's experience within the education sector.
Yeah.
In order to raise the standard, as well as really making sure that our problems are the same. So how can we find a common solution?
Yeah.
Like solutions that Adham coming up with for AI and helping
Yeah.
education in other settings.
So might that come into play in your new in the curriculum? Will that be touched upon at all? Is that an aspect that?
Well, certainly.
Yeah.
We are really encouraging work-based assessment.
Yeah.
Portfolios that has feedback and reflection from the students, and all of those will need some active element of AI to help, but also capture the data, but also give you some analysis for the performance, and eventually give you some hints about feedback or going to your evidence base. But equally, when it comes to assessment, some of the tools that Adham showed in our symposium in Hall 2, which is recorded, so you can really go and watch it.
Yes, so remember to rewatch these lectures.
It does show how we might be going in the future.
Yeah.
No, it might not just be one way, but it's something we will encourage in that new curriculum, and would say that institution needs to look at those actively rather than really worrying about them, that they will reduce the teachers' workforce.
Yes.
Because I think you called it disruption.
Yeah.
I call it innovation.
Okay.
Because I think we're moving forward, and that's where we need to take people with us.
Thank you for that, and it's good to know that we're moving in the right direction under your leadership. Yeah. Fadi, I understand you have another commitment to go to. Thank you so much for having joined us. Yeah. So Adam, actually that brings us to you, because I was really interested in what you presented yesterday as well, about how easy, well, it seemed very straightforward, the way you put in your clinical cases into the app, the EndoLit app, right? And just generating targets or what a student has achieved. You can compare it to another postgraduate, or even just to your whatever baseline you have. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah.
Sure. I mean, the reality is, no matter where you are training, US, UK, wherever, there are certain aspects that the faculty is expected to do. We are expected to review the clinical work of the student and provide some sort of a feedback, right? And we should, over time, review that kind of feedback and see whether the student is progressing or not. The issue often that this is extremely time consuming.
Yes.
So for me, when we thought of developing this on EndoLit, I thought the whole idea is I actually want to free my time.
Yes.
So I want to spend more time doing what I signed up for. All of us signed up to be educators.
Yeah.
I want to teach in the clinic. I want to publish papers. But
we didn't sign up for admin
this
and
admin
paperwork
work that I have to do. I was like, nobody told me about that when I joined.
Yeah.
So, and guess what? We have, again, the European, there is a European version through the ESC, but we do have the American version, the accreditation portion. Happens once every 7 years. That's almost 1,000-page document that the program director single-handed has to write.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No help. No other faculty.
No ChatGPT help. Yeah.
Maybe now
Maybe
I can use Chat. Last time I did it, there was no ChatGPT yet. So definitely there is a lot of load that you have to perform.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the write-up, it's the proof. Show me proof that your students have evolved, has improved. Yes. Show me the evaluations. So placing all this in one place where it could be automated to a great extent. And even the evaluations, you send reminders, hey, you need to do these evaluations in the next few months.
Yeah.
That can reduce significantly the workload I need to do. So I can actually continue to do what I signed up for, right? So I found that to have helped me significantly. Today, EndoLit is used. I mean, many people think EndoLit is the portion they see an application, you see cases people post. Yeah. So we have over 4,000 students who use EndoLit in groups. So I have multiple universities, undergrad, postgrad, who use that app, and it's part of their accreditation process. So right now we have around 10 universities are using it worldwide. Each university's clinical work is housed in one location, so you can generate tons of publications from that. And we've generated around 5 papers in the last 6 or 7 years from that work.
Yeah.
And then all the grading is done in one place, all the assessment is done in one place. And after that, all what you need to do is literally print in preparation for your accreditation. So the intention is to simplify it for us as faculty and reduce that admin burden.
I think you've pretty much sold it. I can already think of all the free time we'll have, but I'm sure there'll be additional workload in other ways.
Absolutely.
But at least, like you said, it's what we signed up for. We want to do the clinical, we want to do the teaching, and not be bogged down. So that's certainly, I think after your lecture, lots of people would have come up to looked up your app. So thank you for that. Damiano, I just want to ask you, in general, where do you see? So coming back to undergraduate now. What do you see as an ideal undergraduate, curriculum? What would be ideal for how much sort of endodontics should be covered, and in what way for the undergrads? Because as you know, there's so much for them to learn. Sometimes in some schools, I find that endo is maybe pushed aside a little bit. In the UK, we have some schools where some students have done maybe one endo, maybe not even a molar endo. I know that's an extreme example, but and we know endo is for general practitioners. It's not just a specialist treatment, yeah.
Okay, so it's clear endo is usually perceived as being complex at the undergraduate level.
Yeah.
But it's definitely such an important specialty that we need to make efforts to help. The undergraduate student, going back to, of course, the virtual reality haptic training, really appreciate the introduction of virtual reality haptic courses in their program. From the very beginning, also in the specialistic, let's say, years with endo and so on.
Yeah.
I can tell you that there are still some resistance from academic that they don't really want to put this new technology in their curriculum, but we will work on it. The main thing is, I think, is sharing. So to give the opportunity to create, to networking, to create the opportunity of sharing. We know social media is, I think, one of the probably the most impacting at the moment, even at the undergraduate and postgraduate level. Not only social media group or platform that are more controlled in the context and more scientific, but networking anyway from the university, not to be isolated. I joined personally a global network named Virtual Reality Haptic Thinkers, and which has the mission to create network, to create opportunity of sharing of knowledge among university, but not only on university, stakeholders and the users. And so I think this is the determinant for this. About the real-time sharing, we still have real-time sharing in social media, in the metaverse, but just in a full virtual. The haptic real-time sharing is not yet available, it's not yet possible. So in my virtual lab, I can create a new scenario, a new virtual exercise, virtual haptic exercise, and through my university network, I can share it with other university, but then they have to download, install, and use it.
Right.
There is always a latency.
Yeah.
So again, from the tactile perception, the technical performance, still we need to overcome some technological barriers. But the sharing is, I think, the core of the innovation, in education.
And I think that's a lovely note to end on. I might give you the last word, Adam. We talked about sharing. Damianos has talked about it in great extent now. What are the chances? We've got you here, so we've got the American perspective. ESE, as you know, have always been big on obviously coming together, standardization, curriculum. What are the chances that we both work together across the pond to put something together that we are all happy with, and that standardization of global endodontic education?
Honestly, you speak my mind. Just before doing this, 2 hours ago, I was speaking with Gianluca Gambarini, and I told him, listen, I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel here.
Yeah.
Teaching endodontics in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, endodontics is endodontics. We have one common goal: exceptional patient care. We want our specialty to move forward.
Absolutely.
This is why we teach, okay? So I don't think we should be all working in a fragmented way. We can definitely work together. And I think this is where the future goes. We were showing yesterday, the possibilities even of sharing. We've worked on an online curriculum since 2016, me and multiple other great educators, Ovi Peters, Anil Kish, and Martin Trope before he retired. And we built something really strong. 2 years ago, we were able to transform this, or like a year ago, we were able to transform it to be in 5 different languages. maintaining my own voice. You would hear me talking Spanish. I couldn't get to talk Italian yet, but AI is going to get that soon. But Spanish,
it was very convincing, I have
Mandarin,
to say. I watched
Japanese,
it yesterday, yeah?
French.
Yeah?
French people were not very happy. It was French Canadians, so they was
Canadian
like,
French,
the
exactly.
accent is not good.
Not authentic.
But this is something. So why now somebody in a different country who does not understand English would be disadvantaged in learning the best possible way? So the tools are there. I think even the process is there. What can be a hurdle right now is just us. I think we are the biggest hurdle, that we are not willing to look in this direction.
Yeah.
And if we do, I think the people who will benefit the most will be our specialty, our doctors, and our patients.
Yeah.
That we've signed up all to treat them at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think with both of you, I know Fadi isn't here, but the three guests today, I think you are building the bridges really, and you're coming up to actually increase awareness. Because again, after listening to you, I feel I'm more open to adapting this, and I'm definitely going to check out the EndoLit app after this. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, and thank you for joining us all, and enjoy the rest of the ESE Paris 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.